What's up, guys? It is Wednesday, August 24th. It's 4:58 p.m. and this is going to be a rapid fire of news over the past couple weeks. We're going to cover ISO 222. We're going to cover like key events and things that are happening as far as like in the next couple months, and we're going to go over a lot of stuff that's already kind of happened, and it will play into things that are going to happen within the next like 3 to 6 months. So let's start off with ISO 222 and we'll dive in right now. So this is from JP Morgan. It's talking about it. How can like institutions get prepared for this? And we'll cover it right now. So what does ISO 222 mean for the payments industry? So it's emerging as a common language and model for financial messages across the world. It isn't a new standard, as real-time high value payment systems have already adopted ISO 222. However, the significance of the shift will unfold over the next few years. So as major currencies adopt ISO 222 formatting, SWIFT estimates that 80% of global high-value payments by volume will be processed through ISO 222. So it's a standard for exchanging electronic messages, and it uses, different standard as far as like how it structures that data for those electronic messages. And it's already used by many real-time low-value and high-value clearing systems around the world, and it offers richer references and improved remittance information. So XRP, Ripple, they deal with remittances, and it's funny how this ISO 222, this big new standard, kind of improves on that remittance function. So requires planning ahead, multi-year project for financial institutions to implement value-added services to enhance experience. So let's see what this is. The adoption of ISO 222 is a catalyst for users to create frictionless payments and become a more data-driven business. And you can see they're increasingly adopting it. So with structure and dedicated fields for payment details, the formatting standard creates communication efficiency. Rather than managing multiple market systems that speak different languages, ISO 222 offers a universal messaging language. According to Stephen Lindsay, SWIFT head of standards, major currencies will be operating with ISO before 2025 to reap the benefits. So think about how like there's all these different languages in the world. You have English, you have Spanish, you have French, you have Italian, so it's hard when you go to a different country as far as like you don't know the language. So how can you receive messages and then send messages? Same thing applies with kind of payments messages and the different languages that different payment systems use around the world. So what this ISO 222 messaging standard is doing, it's creating one universal language for payments messaging cross borders to be very much more in sync with each other, to be able to send and receive messages to any different kind of payment system through one standardized language. So that's kind of a similarity or a comparison right there between payments messaging and language and just like regular language in general. So the impact for financial institutions expands beyond payables and receivables to transaction monitoring, client reporting, and many other elements. So planning for migration sooner rather than later is key. So major currencies will be operating with ISO before 2025. By 2025, though, this will all be set in stone. Like 90% of transactions will be sent through ISO 222, but they're trying to do it beforehand, sooner than later, basically. So delivering faster payments automation and resolution, we can skip that. Let's see if there's anything else here. So I would say that right here. Okay, so as a starting point, focus on the manageable external factors. Create strong governance with fluid channels of communications across stakeholders to oversee the migration within your business. When implementing large-scale technology shifts, communication consistency and cost benchmarking are building blocks of a solid foundation for change. SWIFT is committed to helping financial institutions overcome translation challenges. With market infrastructures migrating at different times, SWIFT is committed to helping financial institutions overcome translation challenges and risk of truncation. Steve Lindsay, SWIFT head of standards, mentioned resources that will be made available, including a transaction management platform SWIFT is building as part of its new strategy to enable added functionality. So JP Morgan sees an opportunity for financial institutions to shift from a passive to active in the data conversation. Instead of reformatting data on a continual basis to meet local requirements and adjusting back into the SWIFT format, Banks will spend less time manipulating data with the new standard. The power of ISO 222 can be summed up as an opportunity to harness data across the entire payment ecosystem to share information better together. There you go. So now we'll dive into the next article, which is talking about what ISO 222 is. We won't cover that, but how is it changing in 2022? So we see banks and financial institutions globally are entering a new era as they prepare to transition their payment systems from using SWIFT messages to the new highly structured and data-rich ISO 222 financial messaging standard. By 2025, it will be the universal standard for high or large value payment systems of all reserve currencies. It will support 80% of transaction volumes and 87% of transaction value globally. In Europe, SWIFT and the European Central Bank have announced ISO 222 go live dates of November 2022 for the standard. So the payments infrastructure migration journey, the ISO 22 migration journey is progressing. By 2025, all financial institutions will have to be able to process ISO compliant payment transactions. So by 2023, ISO 222 will account for, by 2023, 80% of volumes of high value transactions, 87% values of high value transactions. Countries and regions worldwide are migrating at a different pace. For many banks, the migration will happen in various stages during a period of up to 5 years. So 70 plus countries are already using ISO 222 in their payment systems. And you see SWIFT's go live date, November 2022. Same with Europe too, the European system, big bang. All Euro payments going through Target 2 will only be in ISO 222 format from November 2022. June, you have Bank of England for a like-for-like basis in spring of 2022 for fully enhanced messages in early 2023. And 2024, you have the Federal Reserve, so like the US, the CHIPS, and Fed. Plan enhance ISO 2022 messages through a big bang rather than via a phased approach, but currently redefining the strategy. So there you go. Like, this is happening within the next year. All this stuff happening, big bang migration. It's one of the biggest transformations in the payment space to this date. And we can see if there's anything else. Yeah, so that's the timeline. We already had these countries go live, and now this is like the big kahuna, SWIFT. I wonder why there's an exclamation point there. But yeah, November 2022 is like this is happening, and it's going to be big as far as SWIFT goes. They do $5 trillion a day in payments volume, as well as the whole European payment infrastructure as well too. And then you have April 2023 for the UK, and then 2024 for the US. But I believe it's actually happening in November 2023 now for the US. So what banks need to do, and quickly, as deadlines approach, banks are coming under competitive pressure to move to the ISO 222 standard, as the overall shift in the payment industry to instant payments means that their existing products and services could become interoperable if they don't act. And then you have the full timeline right here. So November 2025 is like, this stuff is set in stone. It's not that far away. But yeah, by end of 2023, definitely like we're going to be at that phase, as far as like, we're already there at that point, but like we're so close. We're halfway through, basically. We're at this point right here. It started in 2020, halfway through. We're almost at the finish line, but a lot of stuff is happening in this phase right here. All right, so let's go to the next one. So it's not about compliance, the migration. Let's see. Okay, we can keep moving from this one. So it's talking about SWIFT. It's talking about how they're going live November of 2022. And then you have SWIFT utilizing, starting in November as well too, digital assets, saying it's the next frontier of finance. So what are digital assets? They talk about it. It's basically another word for cryptocurrencies, but it says permission digital assets, on the other hand, such as central bank digital currencies and tokenized assets, are digital assets developed by regulated institutions who also support compliance processes. And financial institutions today don't typically engage with permissionless digital assets because of their unregulated status and anonymity granted to network participants when trading these instruments. But many financial institutions, central banks, market infrastructures, and others, including SWIFT, are experimenting with digital assets, particularly CBDCs and tokenized assets. The aim is to uncover new opportunities to increase efficiency, reduce costs, encourage financial inclusion, and continue to bring more value to our communities. So new forms of value, new opportunities. There are many potential use cases for digital assets, one of them being central bank digital currencies, which are just digital versions of central bank cash, and it's being explored by governments to further accelerate digital transformation of their economies. And it talks about wholesale CBDCs could be used to support international payments. In addition to bolstering competition for payment services, wholesale CBDCs could usher in faster payments through their ability to achieve instant settlement, generating further synergies and liquidity benefits. Similar to CBDCs, stablecoins, privately issued, permissionless cryptocurrencies are backed by an underlying asset. This structure helps minimize price fluctuations and could have a role in encouraging greater financial inclusion as well. The use of stablecoins could play a role in improving liquidity management, but they may run into the same constraints as other forms of private money. Market participants could use stablecoins to provide additional liquidity or better liquidity timing, thereby making more efficient use of capital. However, their unregulated status today could make some of their benefits challenging to realize. That's why regulation and getting that regulatory clarity is huge, as far as like, if this SEC case with Ripple, wraps up and it turns out Ripple is on the right side of things and now XRP has that regulatory clarity, now they can start utilizing it for better liquidity throughout all of international markets. So all right there. And then you have wholesale CBDCs. We've already seen the Central Bank Digital Currency Policymaker Toolkit by the World Economic Forum saying that XRP could be used for interbank wholesale CBDCs, and it's could realize its liquidity benefits. What is Ripple's product? On-demand liquidity. It utilizes XRP for on-demand liquidity. So there we go. Then we have where the challenges lie, saying all this stuff. Interoperability is key, and that's what Interledger protocol does from Ripple. It enables interoperability between all different types of payment systems. So to get the most value from digital assets, they need to be designed to integrate with other forms of value domestically. They need to be able to interoperate with other solutions of different design and technology of an international level. So it's vital that new networks carrying digital assets and existing networks can interoperate with each other. As the global neutral platform that enables institutions and ecosystems to interlink effectively and smoothly, SWIFT is poised to play a crucial role in enabling this. There we go. So they're going to help the market develop common standards around digital assets too. ISO 20022 adoption for cross-border payment messaging. So SWIFT is currently running a number of experiments to explore how digital assets could be used to solve real-world challenges and further transform financial services. One of the experiments aims to demonstrate how the SWIFT platform could enable linking between CBDCs and real-time gross settlement networks and seamlessly orchestrate CBDC cross-border transactions. And on the security side, we're working with leading industry players to explore how SWIFT could act as an interconnector to link up multiple tokenization platforms and various payment types through the transaction lifecycle of a tokenized asset. So they're literally going to turn everything or anything of value into a tokenized format. And now you're going to be able to, or they're going to try to interconnect all these different types of tokenization platforms. And then you're going to need that bridge currency and that liquidity to make a market of these things of value that never once was tokenized and made into a tokenized format of value before it. So a lot more money is going to be flooded into the system. And that's just good as far as like the coins that are enabling that interoperability that will sit between one form of tokenized value to another form of tokenized value. So let's keep going on this. So let's look at this video. So over a single weekend, on a Friday to a Monday, it's going to be a whole different system. And this is November. So here's the excerpt from ISO 2022 SWIFT article. So in the flow, with the Fin Plus pilot future environment last November, the service will go live in August of 2022 on an opt-in basis and on a mass basis in November 2022. So they've already started like a pilot go live phase. And then we saw this already. And this is ACI worldwide. And this is a huge kind of like a technology provider to financial institutions and banks. So what new standards for high value and real-time payment means for your financial inclusion or financial institution. And we can see that It's currently used by 70 financial services organizations, including the Clearinghouse's Real-Time Payments Network, SWIFT, the China National Automatic Payment System, and the Bank of Japan's Financial Network System. And it's just talking more about why it's important, but we can see that if I go to ACI Worldwide, we look at their customers. Let me actually just look it up. So ACI Worldwide and Ripple. We have Ripple partners ACI Worldwide and Currency Cloud close new big deals. So Ripple partner ACI Worldwide is helping State Bank of India modernize its payment system and process payments in cryptocurrencies. RippleNet's long-standing member Currency Cloud has partnered with Dunbridge Financial to offer e-wallets to customers in 180 countries. So ACI Worldwide, Ripple, they are partnered, and ACI is a leading provider of real-time digital payments, and they do, I thought I just saw it, like 14 trillion daily transactions. So ACI Worldwide with 14 trillion daily transactions supports Ripple in conjunction with SWIFT. And here's the there's an article for that, but I'm not gonna go on there. I do this. So ACI Worldwide deploys Ripple solution, and ACI touted that it has over 1,000 of the largest financial institutions and intermediaries, coupled with thousands of global merchants relying on its platform to execute around 14 trillion daily securities and payments transactions. Speaking on Ripple, ACI states that it supports real-time schemes around the world, adding that banks through its platform can deploy real-time payment systems to support SwiftFin, GPI, DLT, example Ripple, and then wire and immediate payments. Bam, that's a lot of money. Like, even though Ripple say they're not partnered with all the institutions in the world, they're partnered with basically the facilitators of these payment providers that are partnered with tons more institutions. So ACI, over 1,000 financial institutions on their network. Now those 1,000 financial institutions can opt in and plug in with the Ripple network and use XRP for these, global cross-border payments and settlements and everything like that. So huge stuff. So let's keep going. So we know Ripple partners with Brazil's biggest bank, Travelex, to launch enterprise crypto payment services. And then you have the APAC region is growing significantly in response to progressive crypto regulation innovation from companies like SBI Remit. Learn how we're partnering with Japan's largest money transfer provider to enable instant remittance services. This is the OMFIF, and they are saying that with the recent development of Bit Global, and remember that Bit Global is very much tied up with Stellar, they're recruiting the founders of Critio's CBDC business and Bit's co-founder, CIO, former U.S. government official and member, and they're talking about a podcast. Let's see what it's about. So this was in August. It's talking about the experience in deploying CBDC protocols, key themes emerging in retail CBDC development, and the geopolitical pressures underpinning them. So it's funny how Bit, who is very much tied up with Stellar, is talking about the emerging themes in retail central bank digital currency development. We always said that Stellar is going to be used for retail, whereas XRP will be used for wholesale CBDCs. Then we have Devin Morthy, former Ripple executive, has joined the Algorand Foundation as head of ecosystem access. So Algorand's tied up in the game. They're ISO 222 compliant, and they're going to play a role as well too. And then you have MasterCard viewing crypto as an asset class more than a form of payment. So MasterCard sees cryptocurrency as more of an asset class and a means of payment. MasterCard's crypto strategy has been fairly successful ever since crypto environments came up. And so they view crypto more as an asset class. But as a payment instrument, we think stablecoins and CBDCs potentially have a little bit more runway. MasterCard expanded its payment focus. Okay, so we can keep going. Then Bank of America said that blockchains have intrinsic value, citing transaction fees. So the bank's report, however, noted that the fees on Bitcoin and Ethereum chains have fallen this year. So blockchains and the applications that run on them have an intrinsic value, Bank of America noted in a research report, saying it rejects regularly heard claims to the contrary. They say that it's not yet able to forecast cash flows for blockchains because of the unpredictable in the nascent industry. Blockchains generate cash flows via transaction fees from validating native token transactions or by validating transactions from applications that run on top of blockchain. And then we saw yesterday that the DTCC Project Ion platform is now live in parallel in production environment. So it's processing over 100,000 transactions per day on DLT. Project Ion represents one of the largest DLT initiatives in equity settlement across the financial services industry, and they selected R3's Corda as the underlying DLT technology for the project platform. They literally transacted in 2021 nearly $2.4 quadrillion. And then also like securities issues from 177 countries and territories valued at $87.1 trillion. This is why I think XRP could be valued over $1,000 easily, and I think it will happen instantly, because when you have this big bang migration to this new DLT environment and system, that's quadrillion dollars. Think about it. Like, say even 10% is flowing across the Ripple network utilizing XRP as that bridge mechanism of settling the securities or currencies, whatever it may be, like instantly. And this is so huge because R3, they have their Corda settler, and the Corda settler utilizes XRP and XDC as that settlement mechanism within its system. Huge news that came out there. And then we have new CFTC bill could overrule SEC, but leaves fate of many crypto tokens up in the air. So taking the burden off the SEC, Congress takes a stab at classifying crypto tokens. The bill highlights an ongoing power struggle between the SEC and CFTC over crypto asset classification. The SEC has tried for years to classify crypto tokens, but little movement. Now the Senate wants to take a crack at it. So they're still trying to figure out this regulation stuff. Yeah, we can move on from that. So Bank of Thailand to launch CBDC pilot this year and unveils a hackathon. So they're launching a retail CBDC pilot in late 2022, and they open a digital currency hackathon. And then you have CBDC's The Future of Fiat Digital Pound Foundation. So Ripple, a visualization from Ripple's new value report suggests the potential for central bank digital currencies has generated an overwhelming consensus among financial institutions. So it says the new infographic highlights CBDC specific takeaways from survey questions asked of 1,600 finance leaders around the world. Then you have Reserve Bank of Australia starts pilot to explore CBDC use cases. So the Reserve Bank of Australia will develop a limited scale pilot to explore use cases and potential economic benefits of a central bank digital currency. Australia's central bank plans to create a CBDC which will operate in a ring-fenced environment. A ring-fenced environment separates a portion of... So now Australia is on board. Bank of England, minutes of the CBDC engagement forum. So they're moving ahead with this. And then Martin Hargreaves, payment systems embracing blockchain. So writes on how payment systems will shift from traditional ledger technology to embrace blockchain systems. And with the advent of ISO 2022 standard, that's exactly what's happening. And then this is from the Digital Pound Foundation, taking digital currencies offline. So the IMF says, as the world's central banks rush to develop digital currencies, almost all the research and trials focus on the internet-based technology. What will happen when the web goes down in a war or a natural disaster? So it's like they're foreshadowing. And what about the 75% of the world's adult low-income population that doesn't even have internet? And it's funny because I believe that XRP is like the only crypto that can operate offline. So XRP offline usage, transacting offline. See, so this October 2021, XRPL Labs demonstrates offline XRP transaction. The developers of XRPL Labs demonstrated transaction of an XRP token in offline mode and claimed that it will increase the adoption of the XRP in offline retail payment systems. So you can now transact without the internet. Then we see Digital Euro, new details emerge on how to limit CBDC holdings. President of that bank shared new details about plans for a digital euro during a July speech. While he covered the usual motivations and risks of a CBDC, he added some detail on how holdings of digital euros might be limited. Then Central African Republic president says successful launch of Sango coin currency, as well as the call for the creation of a common digital currency by the regional central bank, represent two key achievements for his country and all of Africa. So now Africa's live. And then this is Digital Pound Foundation, a sound regulatory approach for digital assets. Quant, over the last 5 years, investment cryptocurrency increased from 100 billion to a market cap of 3 trillion. During that time, crypto went mainstream in the UK. Ads for crypto exchanges popped up on the underground, billboards, and sports stadiums. So it's talking about a sound regulatory approach for digital assets there. And then response to HMT consultation, managing the failure of systemic digital settlement assets, including stablecoin firms. So response to that, so managing the failure of systemic digital settlement asset, including stablecoin firms. Digital Pound Foundations, talking about that, new forms of money. So digital settlement asset is proposed in the draft Financial Services and Markets Bill to mean a digital representation of value or rights, whether or not cryptographically secured, that can be used for the settlement of payment obligations, can be transferred, stored, and traded electronically, and uses technology supporting the recording or storage of data, which may include distributed ledger technology. So with respect to the definition of a systemic DSA firm, in the proposed amendments, let's see what it says. It's a person that creates or issues the digital settlement asset involved in the payment system. The person provides services to safeguard and administer digital settlement assets, including their private cryptographic keys. The person is directly involved in any of the activities mentioned in paragraph A or B. The person is a digital settlement asset exchange provider. The person sets rules, standards, or conditions of access or participation in relation to the payment system, or the person provides any service that facilitates or supports transfer of money or digital settlement assets to be made using the payment system, including any infrastructure provider in relation to the system. So yeah, this definitely has something to do with stable coins, issuers, also like maybe Ripple, Stellar as well too, because they're issuing, or they have their respective asset and they offer payment solutions to institutions that utilize that asset. But yeah, I'm not going to sit here and dissect this. So let's keep going. Brazil's central bank chief predicts end of credit cards. So Brazil's central bank chief Roberto Campos Neto on Friday said he believes credit cards will cease to exist soon due to the growth of the open finance system, through which clients authorize financial data sharing with different institutions. So speaking at an event about cryptocurrencies, through the system, users will control all aspects of their financial life in one integrator on their mobile, rather than having many apps from different banks. The system eliminates the need to have a credit card. I think that the credit cards will cease to exist at some point soon, noting that banks have already started using PICs to offer credit. So crypto, during the event, he disagreed with heavy regulation of crypto assets, but stressed concerns on custody concentration, since 4 companies currently hold 80% of crypto assets. He also said he was concerned about the risk of transaction concentration, with 1 or 2 platforms holding 20 to 30% of the market. And he wants to ensure cryptocurrencies have transparency in how they are traded, created, and transacted. And now Hong Kong opened CBDC Fast Track program. So Hong Kong has opened its global fast track business matching and pitching portal to the territory's central bank in a bid to boost the monetary authority's CBDC research. So the CBDC track invites banks, fintechs, and tech firms to submit innovative ideas for development in 8 focus areas, including a retail CBDC. Then you have crypto assets, the metaverse, and systemic risk. This is from the Bank Underground UK. I'm not going to go deep into this, but I'll just see if there's anything in here of importance. So it's talking about the metaverse, the role of crypto assets in this. So what does it mean for financial stability? It means that in the open metaverse, that if an open decentralized metaverse grows, existing risks from crypto assets may scale to have systemic financial stability consequences. And it's saying that asset-backed stablecoins such as Tether, which claim, sometimes unsuccessfully, to maintain stable value against a national currency or other asset, are currently critical to crypto asset ecosystem liquidity, but are vulnerable to runs in the event that investors lose confidence in liquidity of the backing assets. None currently meet the bank standard for a systemic stablecoin. All right, let's keep going. So Ripple released another report, Payments by the Numbers Guide. We're not going to dive deep into that. And then this is David Schwartz. If you want to go through it, it's in the research links on the Discord. Talks about the secret sauce, his long-term vision of global XRP liquidity pools, and if it's about to come true soon. And then Ripple's goal is not only to reduce costs and time of remittances. Ripple's true goal is a world where various things are tokenized and a new economic zone is born around it. Ripple will prepare the infrastructure to realize that. Then Japanese Shinsei Bank has launched Bitcoin and XRP rewards programs for customers. And Ripple's here to make a dent in the universe. What better, more apt way is there than a Big Bang migration? Big Bang will take place once all systems are in place. It will replace a core banking system from November 2022, so from November 22nd to April 23rd, and the new system for high value and cross-border payments. So this ISO 222 thing, man, it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. And then we have case study, SBI Remit teams up with Ripple to power instant remittances between Japan and Thailand. And then RippleNet enables TransferGo to integrate with local banks and financial institutions, which can reduce processing time from a day to just minutes. Huge amount of savings right there. And then you have CBDCs, the future of fiat Ripple article. And then Ripple Labs interested in purchasing Celsius's assets. So it shared interest in purchasing the assets of Celsius Network. Then open banking on the rise in North America. This is another Ripple report. It says it's poised to transform business operations and payments transactions across North America. And if you remember the Brazil guy saying that credit cards are going to cease to exist, it's even with Ripple, because of open banking, he basically said, or the open finance system, Ripple is kind of relaying the same thing, saying that as fintechs and banks explore alternatives to debit and credit card transactions and lean into account-to-account payment networking, education, and additional regulatory guidance around open banking will help usher in this new paradigm. And then Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse is at Davos Summit just 2 months ago speaking on acquiring other crypto companies. And remember, I just said they are looking into acquiring Celsius's assets. So let's see.
We will build internally. The carbon credit initiative is something we've kicked off internally, but we've invested in over 30 or 40 companies around the crypto ecosystem, and we'll continue to look at opportunities to grow through external acquisitions also.
And of course, the market's not great right now, but is an IPO on the cards at some point?
Well, I think we want to get certainty and clarity in the United States with the U.S. SEC. I'm hopeful that the SEC will not slow that process down any more than they already have. But, we certainly at a point in scale where that is a possibility, and we'll look at that once we're past this lawsuit with the SEC.
There we go. So the best crypto exchanges Forbes calls for fall 2022 nominations, and it's ranking the crypto exchanges. So let's see what they say. And there's nearly 600 exchanges. Wow. The quality is so key, though, because we saw Voyager Celsius go down. So we need to see kind of like which is the best here and which ones that are likely to stay around and which ones will disappear. So Coinbase, number one, I agree with that. Kraken's very good, too. Robinhood, Crypto.com, FTX, Binance, Huobi, Gemini, GMO, eToro. Those are the top 10. Then you got these 10 Interactive Brokers, IG Group, Bithumb, Plus, KuCoin, CME Group, FTX.US, Cash App, Bittrex, Bitstamp. We use those. Let's see, Binance US, TradeStation, LBank, Bitpanda, Bybit. Let's see what else. Femex is on there. We use that. That's for sure. I don't know why Voyager's on there. That's for sure. But let's keep going. Definitely gonna look into this more and see what their thought process is and kind of auditing this. But Uphold's not on there because I don't think Uphold's different. They're not like a crypto exchange. I forget what they're kind of classified as, but I'll look into Uphold a little bit more. But I do trust them a lot. So let's keep going. Every U.S. crypto exchange in Binance is being investigated by the SEC. We're gonna skip that. ECB right here. So this is AmericanBanker.com. It's a whole kind of section for Ripple if you want to go through that. But let's look at the ECB. And then this. So this is cross-country, cross-technology digitalization, Bayesian hierarchical model perspective. This was August of this year. They present a new perspective on forecasting technology adoption, focused on the extensive margin of adoption of multiple digital technologies in multiple countries. We do this by applying a Bayesian hierarchical structure to the seminal model of technology diffusion. After motivating the new perspective and the choices of priors, we apply the resulting framework to a cross-continental data set for EU and OECD countries and different digital technologies adopted by either households, individuals, or by businesses. The results illustrate structure may be used to assess and predict both the adoption process and the uncertainty surrounding the data, and is a robust to use the alternative priors. They point to heterogeneity across countries and across technologies, mostly in the timing of adoption, although to a lesser extent, the steady state adoption rate once technologies are fully diffused. This suggests that characteristics of countries and technologies matter for technology diffusion. So this is a whole non-technical summary. Let's see if there's anything in here. No, nothing too big. But this is Singapore FinTech Festival. Yes, a digital asset innovation. No to cryptocurrency speculation. This is August 29th. Talking about promoting Singapore as a hub for crypto innovation, digital asset use cases. It has been a warning against retail investments in cryptocurrencies and taking measures to restrict retail access. So they're going to talk about their position on cryptos, stablecoins, blockchain, tokenization, digital assets, including risks and opportunities, shortcomings and potential. Talking about making Singapore an innovative and responsible digital asset hub. And then you have all these people speaking there. You have JP Morgan there, Paxos there, Monetary Authority of Singapore, obviously, Nansen, Contour, and same thing, Monetary Authority of Singapore. And then this is a new era of interoperability with Metropolis World and Flare Networks. I'm not going to go into this, but basically Flare Networks is partnering with Metropolis World to build an interconnected or open metaverse. And then I think we've already read this one. And then BIS reports. So the annual report highlights the steps the BIS has taken to deliver on its Innovation BIS 2025 strategy and respond to the challenges facing the central banks, the effects of COVID-19, higher than expected inflation, and the impact of the war in Ukraine. Then you have Saudi Arabia's controversial mega city project, The Line. Let's watch this real quick because this is what the future holds.
The Alphabet-funded Quayside project in Toronto, which was abandoned in May of last year, and both Singapore and Barcelona have tried to modernize with smart sensors. In January of 2021, Saudi Arabia announced plans for its own futuristic city called The Line. Instead of communities sprawling outward from a central location, they would be built vertically and arranged, well, in a line, hence the name. Even though the vision for the city stretches 170 kilometers, it would do away with cars entirely and instead be connected by high-speed rail that would travel the entire length in just 20 minutes. And each individual community would be largely self-contained so that almost anything you could need, be it a school, a doctor, or a quick meal, would be only a 5-minute walk away. The government says the line will run on 100% clean energy and make extensive use of sensors and AI to manage the city's services. And all of this is supposed to be nestled in the pristine natural landscape of the Tabuk province with minimal impact on the environment. Now the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has revealed grandiose renders of what the city will look like to match the grandiose plans. The line is envisioned as a giant glass and mirrored wall, 170 kilometers long, 200 meters wide, and 500 meters tall. That's taller than the Empire State Building. It would have greenery stretching along the top, an open-air ventilation system to help maintain an ideal climate year-round, and it would house up to 9 million people. Now, the line is just one part of Saudi Arabia's controversial $500 billion Neo megacity project. For one, the so-called virgin land that the government is building Neom on is, unsurprisingly, not all that virgin. It is the ancestral and current home of many people, including members of the Hawatat tribe who are being forced from their homes for what many see as a vanity project that won't amount to much in reality.
So that's, how it's going to look like the future and what they're kind of planning, everything's going to be different. That's for sure. And then let's keep going. So University of Cincinnati adds crypto courses to curriculum. All universities are going to do this. So you guys are ahead of the game because you guys are learning here. And then opportunities and risks of the metaverse for small businesses might be useful for anybody that's in Stargate to look into this if you have a small business and see how you can kind of develop a strategy for your business in the metaverse. And then Partisia blockchain, it's something I got my eyes on. I think it's backed by Microsoft, so something I'm keeping an eye on. It's not out yet, but I will let you know when it does. And then let's keep going. Yeah, and then I think that's going to be it. This is all other stuff that we've seen before. I was just resharing it to kind of put it to the front of the matters. But yeah, that's it, guys. So one other thing is, just if you guys got my newsletter, I think it was today, about the the DTCC partnered with R3, how Core Accelerator uses XRP, and we all know that. I shared the document to that a lot of times. But also, too, it does use XDC. So this is March 30th, 2021. R3 Quarter now has a bridge to public blockchains with the arrival of Ethereum-based XDC. So XDC is used in Core Accelerator as well, too. So there we go. So that's it, guys. That's the Roundfire news catch up. Finally, we're back on track. So starting tomorrow, I'm going to be giving the most up-to-date news daily. So that's it. I'll see you in the Discord.